about when somebody gets denied a quick wall? Is that your plan on the door stuck? Okay, guys, welcome to the match. It is Killer B. Thanks for being here again. It is 1v1 featuring the Viper. Viper will be taking on Dracont, and Saracens versus Malay will be the matchup. Kind of two civs that are in the lower half of the spectrum of what you'd like to get in a random 1v1 on Arabia. But, okay. Yeah, interesting matchup. Saracens, of course, in this case, they get a couple of choices early game, as do the Malay. Malay choices are kind of more interesting to me because of that faster uptime. You can build a few more vills, and you should build a few more vills because, you know, your economy is going to have trouble keeping up. For instance, dropping a stable right away in feudal is hard to do if you try to go up on 19 vills with Malay. So you build a couple extra vills, and that does give you a little more flexibility with what you want to do in the early game. Purple player is going to have two patches of wood on the left side. It looks like he will lumber camp one patch for now, and he probably lumber camps this other side a little later on. Dracont has a very wallable left side of his map. Very wallable. I mean, not much work has to be done to get that walled up. But the right side is a little bit different of a story. There's a lot more work to do there. His main gold is out here on the side, which makes it a little less comfortable for him to take, but probably can be in his sphere of influence early. He'll also have a back berry patch, which I suppose he'll mill on the back side after his initial house kind of blocks the front. Dracont's map is not too bad. It's pretty closable. Taking gold might be a little bit uncomfortable for him, but he should have those couple villagers earlier in the quicker uptime, potentially, than Viper. So maybe it's all good, man. Maybe he can make it happen and have an army to compensate for a couple of resources that are a little bit open. I think it's a fine map. It's Arabia after all. You're going to have to deal with some openings. Yellow player is the Viper, playing as the Saracens. 3 vills on wood early for the Viper. He's going to have berries off to the side. Behind him, there's 2 patches of wood, but they totally suck. There's also a patch of fish here, but not nearly close enough for him to cost-effectively grab it from his mill, which will be over on the berries. Viper's going to have a couple golds behind him and a stone behind him, and actually an area, an opportunity rather, to maybe protect those resources in the later game. For now, Viper taking wood on the front on a wood line that is quite exposed, and yeah, I think his map has potential if he can defend it nicely as he goes toward the castle age. Maybe you get a TC up in the back. Maybe you get a TC up on a wood line somewhere. This can turn into an okay-ish map for the Viper with a little walling. But early game, I don't love it, and maybe we'll see Dracont try to take advantage with some early pressure. Towers are definitely on the docket as an option for Dracont if he wants to go that direction. Often when you're kind of outweighed or outmatched by your opponent by a bit, you try to compensate by being extremely aggressive. We'll see if that's the case here for Dracont. I thought it will play when someone fails to quick wall, but it works both ways. Still might be a little awkward. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out again, Lycanthropy. The door's stuck. Dracont on Arabia, says Blue Strawberry. Dracont here is definitely going to be outmatched by the Viper. He's definitely stronger on Arabia than I remember. We watched him maybe a week ago, having a couple of really nice games. But yeah, I mean, standing up to the Viper on Arabia is it's a pretty tall order. Purple player is not going to lose this Vill unless he falls asleep at the wheel. Come on, man. Playing it really close, but dropping the board perfectly under the TC. All good in the hood there for Dracont, who is going to roam around here with his scout and get his eyes on the Viper's economy. Viper is still scouting his side. He's scouted quite thoroughly over there. I believe he had all of his sheep, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Dracont didn't steal anything, and I don't see any sheep for the Viper, so he's just really thoroughly scouting his side of the map before going forward. Viper might be looking for a deer patch. It wouldn't surprise me too much, but he is not going to find one. I can't find one, and I don't even have Fog of War on. Oh, there's the 2 sheep that the Viper is missing. That's why he's still roaming around on his side. So Viper looking for those last 2 sheep. There's always some hidden sheep, and Dracont here gets what I think is a better map, probably a marginally better civ, maybe probably an equally good civ. But he gets the Viper, who's going to be missing a couple of sheep. So a couple of advantages early for Purple, and maybe that can help him grab a win in this situation. 22 vills for Dracont and Loom, and now he will click up to the Feudal Age. He's going to be up before the Viper because of his faster uptime. Viper is up on 21 pop, and the Viper has sent 5 villagers out to this back woodline. Looks like a scout build to me, but I suppose we'll find out shortly what the Viper's going to do. Barrack's coming down for him now. I want to see Karambit spam. You might see that, Uncle Chips. Hodor comes from hold the door. Interesting. Viper trying to get these sheep back home. Dracont might, just barely too late to be able to steal them. I don't know if Dracont would have lamed those sheep, but it could have been a nice little thing for him to grab a tiny bit more advantage from the Viper. Purple player is coming forward with a tower push by the looks of it. 4 villagers going forward and 3 villagers going over to stone. It's not uncommon at all with Malay to go towers because you get up fast and you have a nice rounded economy and you can make an extended tower push that your opponent's going to have trouble dealing with. Dracont's already up and he's already forward for this first tower. Viper did scout it, so Viper should be ready for this. But he will drop the stable and Dracont's first tower here could be in a very nice position. Viper with a quick gate. He will wall his opponent out for now. We will see men-at-arms coming from Dracont, and he will be the aggressor here with a tower push. Viper did transition to this back wood line, so he's not going to be caught totally wrong-footed here. But certainly this wood line is going to be quite uncomfortable for the Viper. Viper going back for now. The men-at-arms from Dracont do come in. Viper is going to micro away as best he can from damage here, but he will lose a villager that was blocked in and taken arrow fire from the tower. Second villager is down for the Viper. Great start to the game for Dracont. Dracont's going to grab a third vill as well. That villager went off script and kind of ran into a little bit of a kamikaze sort of a death. Dracont with 3 villager kills. The first tower is great. The second tower is pretty good as well. Viper trying to dive in behind the villagers to block them in, and he will get a quick gate down there. That's uncomfortable for Dracont. He has to turn around and fight the palisade now and bring back his army. Viper's got his own tower coming, and Dracont is up the creek now. Wow, what a flip of the script from the Viper. Able to get his tower up, able to get a couple of scouts out, and he's at least stopped Dracont's tower here, which would have been a really devastating tower. Viper still lobbing in arrow fire on these men-at-arms. He's trying to snipe down at least one villager out of that group of Draconts. First tower from the Viper is his only tower because he doesn't have stone eco. Immediate market coming from the yellow player. Yellow player Viper is definitely still behind in this game, but he's bringing in villagers now, and he's bringing the scouts in as well. More scouts on the way for him, and he is going to try to deny this tower push right now. Dracont's lost 1 vill already. He's not going to get that tower done, and the Viper is going to chase these villagers now. The hardest thing about towers on scouts is if it doesn't work, the villagers never make it home. Scouts are just too quick chasing down those villagers from behind. Yellow player is still microing around this, still trying to keep his scouts alive. Purple player's villagers are getting really low. And after a really devastating start for Dracont, the Viper stabilizes the position very nicely. Viper's going to kill these last couple of vills. He's going to do it without losing one of his scouts. Did lose some HP. But ultimately, Dracont gets denied his opportunity to keep the tower rush going. We'll still have the 1 villager advantage. You should expect a little bit of a vill advantage because of the faster uptime here. So it's actually the Viper, I think, who's earned a little bit more damage than Dracont early on. Dracont killed 3 vills, the Viper killed 4. And basically we go back to our own corners and reset. Dracont's going to wall up his side. We'll leave 2 villagers on stone. Purple player is ready for a tower if he needs it in defense. And he may just need it a little bit later on. Is transitioning into double range archers. Dracont will have to flesh out his gold economy. But Dracont, you know, got an early jab, but then he got poked back in the eye by the Viper. Got those 3 vills from the Viper, and if you were looking in hindsight, like, man, I should just go home. If you knew what was going to happen, you would have just gone back and been happy to have a couple villager advantage. But who could have seen the Viper's defense? Such a nice defense. Sneaks in behind Dracont to build a palisade, gets his own tower up on the front, brings the scouts into the fray, rushes down both towers simultaneously. Definitely not something that I could pull off. Let's just say that's not something you have to worry about every player in the game doing to you. There's only a select few who can pull something like that off. Purple has a bug second stone. Well, the second stone is definitely not in a good spot, and you could get a re in a tournament game probably from that, right? Because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides blocked. Maybe. I'm not sure if that's a reable. I'm not sure if that's bugged enough to be a reable stone. But certainly for now, he's taken his main stone on the front. He is continuing to play through this. Just a friendly match after all. Viper versus Dracont so far has been small advantages for one side, equalized pretty quickly by the other. Castle Age coming for the Viper. Dracont on his side of the map is not terribly close to clicking up. Dracont's got double ranges down. The Malay player has a couple of archers out, and he is going to go for fletching. So he's in the Feudal Age for a while longer. Viper, after dropping that market, Saracens market, keep that in mind, was able to adjust his economy enough to click up to castle. Not a whole lot of military production from the Viper. He built a couple scouts, and he hasn't built anything since. So maybe one stable knights for the Viper when he hits the next age, but for the moment he's going to be on his way to castle. Dracont taking the long way around the map, all the way out to the right side. We'll try to sneak in maybe behind the TC to try to find the back of Viper's economy. Let's see. His relic blocks the 5th side, says Bieber. Yeah, it's true. Even 5 sides blocked. I mean, there's nowhere to put a mining camp here. That's the worst part of it. Like, if you put a mining camp there, you get to mine 1 panel at a time. So it's a terrible stone. But we'll see if it's a meaningful difference in this game. For now, the purple player is still on stone. He might be thinking about an early-ish castle, or maybe more likely thinking about defending his base with towers. Dracont is taking such a circuitous route around the world. He's Magellan in this case, just going all the way around the Horn, and he is eventually going to get to the Viper's base. The problem with this taking so long is that the Viper might have a few knights ready for this army by the time it arrives, and that could be difficult for Dracont to do damage on. Here come those archers now, though, and maybe there's enough time. Maybe there's enough time. First night will be done soon. The town center could be denied. Maybe Dracont gets in the back here and disrupts this eco. Should be able to grab a few vills, but 2 knights would be enough, I think, to engage this. Villagers now from the Viper are going to start taking some damage. 1 vill is going to go down, and a 2nd villager should go down. So 2 vills already earned from Dracont, and now a 3rd. Viper's pathing here is pretty suspect. He's running directly past these archers. Maybe he's trying not to let Dracont know that he can move to the back of this eco. TC on 75%. Viper's knights start to come over. Definitely good damage from Dracont, who is on 42 vills. Viper's on 28. Dracont is on 42. Dracont finding a nice little cranny to hide in. Don't call it a nook. That, my friends, is a cranny. Purple player is wedging himself in there, but the Viper's TC is going to be complete soon, and he will be able to crush this army. But man, Dracont gets another villager on that side. That villager did not deserve to die. He definitely could have made it home for Christmas this year. He was just a poor boy.
I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me.
It's just a poor boy. 3rd town center coming for the Viper. Certainly going to be playing this one from behind on the villager count for a while, but 3 TCs will help him a lot. Dracont will begin to wall everything in and drop down a market. Dracont's been in the Feudal Age for a while. He's had a nice protracted feudal army buildup, and he can deal with 1 stable knights from the Viper for now. The problem will become that Dracont will have a bit of a lag phase here, where he might not want to push this army out versus the Viper's knights. And Viper will have a chance to maybe boom his way up to Dracont's level. So the game could become quite equalized over the next few minutes, but man, fantastic rating from Dracont. I would say bad pathing, a couple of maybe mediocre decisions from the Viper, walking past that group of archers, losing more units than he had to, but Dracont got in there just in time. I was worried that he wouldn't get there in time, but I was wrong. Definitely worth it. I like Killer Bee's vocabulary. Yeah, I say random words. Usually I don't use things in the proper context, so you know, don't tell your English teacher all the things that I say. Don't use the words that I use in English class. He'll probably get upset. Purple player has moved over to stone rather, a little bit more aggressively with 4 vills now. He's going to maybe be able to drop the castle early on in the next age. Castle would help him a lot to defend this base, but we'll see if he needs it. We'll see where he puts it. If he can win some map control, he could drop that castle on the Viper's base. Viper, though, notably has 4 TCs down now. 4 TCs and a siege workshop for the Viper, who is onto 42 vills. And as we were kind of speculating, you know, Dracont on 1 TC, and he's a little slower up to the Castle Age. Of course, by the time he hits Castle Age, the Viper has actually reboomed enough to surpass him economically. That being said, the Viper's military is extremely mediocre. He's got 2 total knights on the map, and he's mostly just running them around and doing some scouting. Those knights have bloodlines and +1, and they are really not a match for this group once they become crossbowmen with bodkin arrow. Those knights are not going to quite get the job done. Viper, though, has walled his opponent out of a lot of damage. This TC protects a lot. This TC protects a lot. Dracont really can only walk through the middle, and if he does that, he's playing with fire, so he's got to be really careful. Viper's got a mangonel coming back as well to go along with this, and Dracont is going to dive in. Fortune favors the bold. Bodkin arrow coming for purple. If he dives in deep enough, he can definitely grab some fills in the back. Got to give him some credit. I mean, he does push the Viper's entire economy to a new area, which that's worth something. That's definitely worth something. Purple not able to grab this Vil from the Viper, is he? No. Viper's going to get that Vil to safety, but all of these villagers have run across the map to basically not be very effective for the last few minutes. But here it comes maybe. Here it comes maybe. That mangonel slowly getting closer to maybe some damage. Yellow player Viper is stalking that group from behind, and it is definitely not going to be a super fun moment if Dracont has to take... Oh, nice split from him there to start things off. But the Viper is close. The Viper is ready and willing to get his mangonel shot. Dracont taking a little TC arrow fire. Viper for now going back with the mango. Dracont running in, but here comes another mangonel. Dracont winning that mango very nicely, using the hill bonus, and the Jaws music was not properly, wasn't appropriate, because Dracont is microed very nicely, still being stalked around by the king of all kings, the Viper himself, and his mangonel is eventually going to find a shot on Dracont, but great early micro from Dracont and great damage coming in from him. Viper, as we said, is on 4 TCs. There's the glancing mangonel blow that he might have wanted sooner. His couple of knights here will run interference nicely, and the TC will help a lot to clean this up. Dracont's still got a couple of crossbows left, but ultimately, yeah, that group is dead. Double monasteries for Dracont on the front. He is going to try to flip this game over with a little bit of monk production. Viper doesn't have too many knights, but it will be an interesting push from Dracont, who's got spears, crossbows, and monks. Purple player for now is going to be on one, count it, one town center. So extreme aggression put down from Dracont. He will come with a castle drop. He will come with a couple of spears, which maybe errantly run under the town center for a moment. Monks will heal him up a bit, but this castle drop is going to be the thing of interest. Dracont's castle here can help him a lot. He's going to drop it right on the Viper's face. Viper's got a scorpion in the back of his eco. He's defending with a couple mangoes. 66 Vils for the yellow player, who's trying to quickly tower up his side to defend against the castle drop. Dracont had a one villager castle drop coming, and he decided to delete it and go back a little bit. One villager building a castle is certainly going to be something that requires a lot of patience, and the Viper's tower would have actually denied that castle by itself. Redemption would be perfect right now. Oh, redemption is always going to be nice against the mangonel fire. Viper's still not investing really anything in an army, so Dracont just needs bodies. I mean, Dracont right now already has an army that's probably going to be difficult for Dracont to break. Dracont coming back for another castle. This time he'll have a few more villagers coming in to help out. Viper will try to snipe it down, but he won't get the job done yet. For now, that castle is starting to go up, and the Viper is not able to deny it. Dracont with just a couple Vils building, but he does have a few monks in the back of this defense. He's got a couple crossbows, a couple spears. It's Noah's Ark up in this bitch. It's Noah's Ark up in this piece. 2 of everything for the Viper. More like 4 of everything, but he's able to nicely stand and stop his opponent from diving in. Purple player does convert a Vil, because why not? But Dracont's castle here is what is going to be the real payday. In firing range of both of these TCs, he can knock down this tower from the Viper, and he can knock down the production if he wants to, too, with that one castle. So a great castle from Dracont, who is going to go 1 TC, and once that castle's done, he's going to click up to Imp. Really, really risky and aggressive build from Dracont, who is still on 1 town center now. But it might just pay off. Castle is done, the Imperial Age upgrade is now going to start, and Purple's got the world by the tail. He's got an advantage on the Viper, which is an uncommon thing to have. Viper's also on the way to Imp. He has 16 more villagers than Dracont. He got a castle up in the middle of his eco, and he's just playing defensively and trying to boom up. Viper's Imp will be much later than Dracont's, about 1 minute and 20 seconds, because Dracont is Malay. So the Viper expands out to the left side to build up a TC in the Fog of War. A little bit of a clandestine area of the map, but as long as Dracont doesn't know about it, he probably can't deal with it. Dracont in the purple, on his way to Imp, has dropped that castle. Let's see what's going on inside the castle. It is Karambit Warriors starting to come out. Karambit spam. I can't remember who said to start this game that they want Karambit spam, but you are about to get it. Dracont is playing bravely, says Entheogenico. Indeed. Playing boldly is the only way to beat the Viper, I think. I don't think the timid players are going to have an opportunity, like resting on your laurels and trying to boom up and trying to take a small villager advantage or something to the next stage. Man, that's going to be a hard way to win. Dracont here is trying to win it in an impressive fashion as he hits Imp. Notably, the Viper has 16 more vills, so Dracont still has a lot more work to do. 91 villagers now for the Viper, and his Imp is not that far away. Purple player's still roaming around looking for more damage. He has yet to knock down either of the TCs. He's busy shooting a house right now, and that's a little bit of wasted damage, I think. I kind of wish Dracont was not doing that, but yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Treb's starting to come out for Dracont, who is going to start knocking down these TCs at a much faster pace. The Viper still booming up with his 5th town center on the left side. 96 villagers for Viper. Not a lot of production that I've seen. A couple of Mamelukes in the back of this eco. Another castle coming for the Viper. Maybe he's going to go straight Mammies. Has 1 stable, has 1 barracks, and has no archery ranges. So Viper is not really, he's not really ready to defend himself. Resources will start to click up and tick up quickly for Viper, but Dracont's coming with another castle. He's not waiting for anything, and Dracont should have already knocked down this tower. I have no idea why he isn't. I'm pretty sure he can reach it. Am I crazy? It looks like it's about 8 panels away. He should be able to kill that tower, and he finally does. Dracont's still in a great spot. His aggression is doing great damage to the Viper. He's going to knock down 2 TCs. Viper's Mamelukes are coming over, but there's a couple of Karambit coming as well. Monks are wallowing away, and as long as Dracont doesn't suicide his own monks, I think he gets this castle up. So a really crazy minute for Dracont, who is taking some major risks, McGreevy. He is going for it, baby. Did I remember it the wrong way, or has Dracont improved a crapload since I last watched? Well, Dracont has definitely improved his play on Arabia. That's definitely true. We were watching him last week playing some pretty legit Arabia players, and he was giving them a run for their money and or winning, and here he's giving the Viper a serious run for his money. I know you think of this guy as an Arabia guy, or an arena guy, but he's no slouch on Arabia. Gonna knock down this castle. The Viper, of course, wants to, or rather knock down this TC. Viper, of course, wants to get the castle down if he can. He's double trebbing away, and Dracont does not have enough here to repair. For now, those Karambits are, they're not very upgraded. Conscription is on the way. They're pumping out of 1 castle slowly because treb production is extremely important as well. Forward University for Purple, just 75 vills for him. The Viper gets yet another town center on the left side of the map. So Dracont continues to be extreme in his levels of pressure. He will kill this whole front area from the Viper. But the question remains, is it going to be enough? The castle is already down. The Viper has killed that already, and the Treb War begins. Saracens player is aiming for the Trebs, and the Purple player is aiming for the castle. Viper gets another Treb down in the Treb War, and Dracont might run out of time here if he doesn't shape up quickly. His Trebs are in a lot of trouble. He's going to lose another Treb here if he's not... yeah, he's a bit lucky, actually, keeping that Treb alive. Viper will keep his castle, which is paramount, I think, to his defense on this side. The Viper still has a couple of safe gold piles. He's booming up still on 5 TCs, I believe, even after losing 2. 7 town centers have been built for the Viper. He's lost some vills. He has had to spend a lot to get to where he is. And he still lacks a real solid, scary military. It's 9 total units for the Viper. A couple of Trebs, a couple of Mamelukes, and now some stables coming in from Viperino. So, great pressure from Dracont. Viper gets a chance to take a quick breather as the Karambits start to roll toward this eco in a rather small number. Karambits from Purple are slowly rolling out. He is doing what with his castle? He's doing nothing with his castle. Does have a couple monks, but not a ton of production other than a few bombard cannons coming here and there. Pikeman upgrade is coming as well for Purple. Back at home, he has added in a 2nd TC. So Dracont will eventually get up to the 100 villager mark, I suppose. His cannons are rolling in, and his Trebs are unpacked again, and he's knocking on the front door of Viper's castle. Viper needs some villagers over here, tout sweet, as the French would say. I mean, they wouldn't say it like that because, you know, they actually speak French. But he needs to get over here quickly to start repairing. He needs to unpack his trebs to try to knock down his opponent's aggression. Viper's trying to find the perfect spot for those trebs, I think, so that they can't get hit by cannon fire. But I don't know if he's going to find the right spot in time. Castle's really in trouble, and the trebs that were unpacking are now packed back up for the most part. Viper's still repositioning, but boy, this is not going to be good for him. Yeah, he has to move back. So the yellow player, the Viper, controls the entire left side of the map. Still has a massive economy. Does have scout production coming, light cav on the way, and plate barding armor to go with it. Needs to find a way to push back against Dracont, and he's going to try to do that with light cav. But Dracont is already starting to get the ever-important pikemen to the front lines. More barracks coming for purple as well. Viper's not going to be able to break this army very easily. His first group is going to head into Dracont's eco, or at least he hopes into Dracont's eco. Yeah, the Viper still can't break this army on the front. 133 vils for the Snake. He certainly does have a nice economy to go along with this aggression. He's got a ton of gold in the bank. He's definitely not out of this game, but he's going to have to get some serious work done to stop Dracont's death ball. Dracont continues to have an army that the Viper can't break on the front, especially now that the Halberdier upgrade is in, and these barracks are going to start spamming out trash to go along with it. Viper taking damage, man. Viper's in purple's base. And the Viper is slowly working his way toward Dracont's base. We'll see the Halbs cleaning some of this up. The Viper will roam around and look for his way in. Hussar upgrade is in for yellow. Yellow player is going to get in some good damage. Certainly knocking his opponent back down below 80 vils is a nice accomplishment. But Dracont continues to come forward with a really difficult to break army. A huge amount of monks for Dracont here. One might guess that that's probably too many monks, but we'll see. Lots of gold from Dracont soaked into those monks. The Viper is trying to push in through the left side, or through the right side of his opponent's walls. Dracont has not yet responded to this with many halbs. I don't see any halbs inside of the eco. Purple player's on his way back to deal with this, but he will lose a lot of eco. He'll have a lot of idols for quite a while now. Dracont's on 79 villagers back at home, so he is not going to be happy to see probably about 30 of them go idle as the Hussar start to spread around into the back of this eco. A lot of these villagers have nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Viper's still raiding the bejesus out of his opponent with Hussar, and it's Dracont's push on the front now that has full pressure on it. It has to work now as the Viper dives in to grab some trebs. Already grabbed a couple trebs with his own trebs. Dracont starts to run out of siege here on the front, and Dracont's chances are looking quite slim all of a sudden. Viper transitioning into Hussar. It took him a little while to get there because of all of the damage that he had put down. Had to build a lot of villagers twice. Had to build, I think, 7 TCs in total this game. But now the Viper is sniping monks with trebs. He's holding his line pretty nicely. Does have a couple of Mamelukes, but mostly a Hussar army. And now skirmishers coming with elite on the way. Viper's in Dracont's eco. Dracont is on 46 fills. And this door has definitely closed for purple. Very exciting game from Dracont. You got to give some props to Dracont in this game. He really let the Viper have it with a ton of aggression early. Stuck on 1 TC, went quick up to Imp. Gave us a great show, but could not quite convert it into a victory. These pro players, these top pros like the Viper, they just, if they continue to drag someone into deeper and deeper waters as the game goes on and gets more complicated, man, it's so much harder to get the win here in the Imperial Age versus the Viper than it would have been if Dracont could have knocked him out maybe a tad sooner. But great defense from the Viper. The defense versus the tower on the front here was really, really beautiful to watch. That was a game, if I had lost those 3 vils early, I would think, God, my chances of winning are gone. But the Viper made it happen with a pretty great decision on walling his opponent in and building up some towers. So a great game all around. Kudos to everyone involved. Dracont definitely pulling his weight and definitely proving to us, at least proving to me, that he's really got some talent on Arabia. This is not a guy who's just an arena player anymore. If he ever was just an arena player, I think it's not fair to really call him that now. Giving the Viper a good run for his money, and it's pretty damn difficult to do that. We'll jump out of that game. Was a fun one to watch. Viper versus Dracont. You guys saw it here live.